Okay, cool. Let me pull it up really quick, and then I'll be sending out the document for y'all guys. Okay. If not, I would just make this separate, and we can actually just write it down.
I have the number.
You can use it. I have paper right here.
One-on-one. Let me get it down.
Stuff isn't right. Let's go back. Sorry. There's a mute spot here.
It's been a road for me.
Yeah. See, what were our or two or
Give you the salted chips.
punctuality. Okay.
That's all on it.
Okay.
So you warm up some lime?
Yeah.
All right. Let me do this so I can send it to y'all. All right. Perfect. Y'all ready? Am I missing anyone?
Grab this.
Can you just it's got to be a growing up line. Okay, cool. Zoom guys, can y'all see my screen? Zoom guys, can y'all see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Cool. So perfect. I just sent it in the leader chat, so feel free to take notes. Okay. There's gonna be someone that goes ahead and writes everything down and then just doesn't listen. Don't be that guy. Cool. Awesome. All right. So this is the one-on-one structure. Okay. One-on-ones should be done 2 to 5 times a week. Okay. And this is outside of your upline. Okay. So you should want to connect with someone in the office or outside of the office that is a level above you. Okay. And the reason why is, why do you think we want to do that on a constant basis every week?
So you can keep growing.
Okay. Growth.
Does it have to be the same person?
Association. Give me 1 second. Okay. Why do you think it's important to keep, continue to do one-on-ones every single week with someone that's above you in leadership?
That's where you want to be, like our white rabbit.
That's where you want to be. Okay. Also, it's like, it gives you the what's next mentality. Okay. I talk about that a lot, but it helps you prep. Like, it doesn't let you get stagnant. It doesn't let you read your press clippings. Okay. I get it. Like, someone came off of a high week of 15. That's okay. That's cool. But it's like, what's next? How fast can you teach someone? And if you're on a networking call, any smart person that's above you is gonna be like, hey, I don't give a shit that you did 30 sales, Tiffany. I need you to teach 4 people how to do 20. Does that make sense? And if we get stuck in our accolades, if you think it's me, it's probably because you haven't networked out. We haven't networked out to a point where it's like someone can call us out on that. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Cool. All right. So always getting that association. Okay. Association, it equals your network. Okay. Network equals what? Net worth. Okay. Your network equals your net worth. And so you want to start building like an arsenal of people that where when someone goes through a problem or when you go to get into a problem, that you can immediately be like, okay, Tommy, who's a owner in Dallas, went through this. Let me contact him. Or, oh, I know an assistant manager that does this. And then you're going to hire someone in the future, okay, that is like, that has the same background. Okay. And if someone has the same background with, like, if someone who has a kid, okay, like when Porto came in, he had kids going through the business. So I immediately put him on a networking call with Tommy because he went through the business with kids as well. Okay. I have no fruit on the tree about that. I genuinely don't know. I have a dog. That's it. Yeah, and he kind of fends for himself. He just doesn't pay rent. That's it. Okay. So it's like, I genuinely don't have fruit on the tree. I can't coach him the way Tommy did because he has that fruit on the tree. Make sense?
Makes sense.
So you want to build like an arsenal, like an index of people that can help you grow your company. Okay. Help you grow your company by getting to know other people. So sometimes you're networking for yourself, but you're also networking. Keep in back of mind, like, what are some key things that make this person so great so you can use them later on to develop your team? Sense? Cool. All right. And so now that we know the why on one-on-ones are so important, okay, right? You should also start networking out your person as soon as possible. Okay. This is why you talk about owners. This is why I love to talk about owners. Talk about success stories because you imagine like if Tracy was to come into this office, would we be really grateful?
Yes.
Yes, but we've never met him, right? Okay. And it's because the success stories of talking, right? Like if Richard was to walk into this office, we would all be super appreciative. Okay. And it's because the level of appreciation, the level of success stories that we talk about is high. Does that make sense? Don't talk about your own press clippings. Talk about that leader. Like if I want to network out Tiffany, okay, to another owner, the entire week I'm talking about this owner. And I'm like, hey, there's a potential call we can get on. Would you value that? Like, what is your level of appreciation if we were to hop on a 15 to 30 minute call? Can I say that? Okay. Okay. So before we get into how a one-on-one should be conducted, does anyone have any questions so far? No? All right, cool. So this is the one-on-one structure. Okay. Now this is how to have a one-on-one structure with your downline. Okay. So we're talking to leaders. So you're having a one-on-one structure with your downline. This is how it should be conducted. Okay. Now if we're talking about level of frequency, when should we have a one-on-one with our downlines? Every week. Okay. Every week. And if your upline is unavailable, get with their other upline. Get with the growing upline. Sense?
Makes
Awesome. Okay. So always plug them into your upline. It is okay to have your upline shadow your one-on-one. It is okay for your upline to do your one-on-one. I think we've gotten a little bit away from that. Okay. This is why you want to prep them on your calendar all the time. Everyone with me so far? Right? Like this is why it's so important because Ariel's awesome, but she's also been a leader for 2.5 minutes. Okay. So does she know how to talk about the 4 core pillars? No. Right. So if I'm Ariel, I'm like, hey, I got this sharp person starting. Hey, Miriam, can you please go ahead and who's your upline? Yeah, Miriam. Okay. So hey, can you go ahead and run this one-on-one for me? That way I can go ahead and start doing them myself. Does that make sense? Now, should I be present if my upline is doing the one-on-one? Yes. Because the whole point is to eventually do them ourselves, correct? Okay. All right. So you want to get them, you want to do them with your downline. You want to plug them into your upline. Okay. Not in the field or in the office or non-public. Now, where have we been going wrong with this a lot? Doing them in the office. This is why we're going to get back as of Monday. No one-on-ones are done in the office. Okay. They're done where? Torchies. Okay. It creates an energy already. It creates an energy. Okay. And they should not ever be done. This is pretty common sense, but they should never be done at your house. Non-public areas are not okay for one-on-ones. Okay. Because then it just defeats the purpose of being so impactful. Cool. So Torchy's is a great place because there's music playing. Okay. There's an outdoor and an indoor area. Okay. There's always energy there. So it's like everything's, the culture's already there. You don't have to ask for it. Make sense? Okay. Cool. And so, through a structure, you'll cover specific things and depending where they are in the business, you talk about certain things, but the structure always stays the same. Everyone with me so far? So if it's your very first one-on-one, you want your upline or yourself to talk about the 4 core pillars. Now, what are the 4 core pillars?
MLM versus.
No, that's 4 conversations. I need someone to do it. There we go. No. Okay. So I want you to write this down.
The 3 core pillars.
No, it's not that, Karen. You're good. Okay. So you want to talk about this in the first week or it has to be done in the first week. And it's the first one-on-one you conduct with your downline. The reason why is because it sets the blueprint. Okay. You want to set the blueprint for your downline. And we've gotten away from this because I did it with my downlines and I did not teach them how to have them again. So some people don't even remember having this talk so long ago. Okay. So the 4 core pillars that you want to talk about. Okay. Prioritization. Accountability. Trust and patience. Right, I was seeing pens move. Fact check me. Alexis, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And in that order, right? Or accountability first, actually, I think.
Yes.
Yes, it is. Okay. And so the reason why the order is kind of important is because you want to talk about them and have them rate them in that order. Okay. So I'm talking to Ariel. I'm like, hey, so some of the 4 core pillars that our growing upline really wants us to embody, okay, are our 4 core pillars that every entry level, we want to see like a manifestation of it. Okay. And the first one is, like we talked about, accountability, right? Like what is your say-do ratio? That's why I remember the 4 core pillars talk. your say-do ratio. Okay, like if you're to say something, what is the amount of accountability we have to do it? Right? Like if I told Richard I was going to read a book, would he have to micromanage me, or would I just be able to submit him notes? Okay, like even me, guys, running the company, I still submit notes to Richard. I still do that on a daily basis because I want to prove to him, hey, I'm still reading. Do you think he really cares? Yeah, maybe does he read it every day? Probably not. Okay, but it's my accountability. It's my say-do ratio coming through. Make sense? And I'm like, hey, so on a personal level, I would say my accountability is like on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like I do everything picture perfect. I'll say I'm like about a 7.5. Where would you rate yourself? And do you think they're gonna rate themselves higher? Right? Like you wanna gain perspective out of this. Okay, and you wanna see, because the whole reason is at the end of the 4 core pillars, what are you looking for? Like as leaders, what do you think we're looking for at the end of these 4 core pillars talk?
Like what's working on?
What to work on. Because they're like, hey, I do not trust anyone. What does that really mean to us as leaders? That they're lacking a what? Trust, vulnerability, faith, right? And also just a pure relationship with someone. So then I can work on building a relationship for the next week. Does that make sense? And this is something I teach usually. I'm really excited about this stuff now. Okay. And so you want to have the next one is going to be, and I'll go through all the 4 ones. I'll actually do the next Saturday meeting. I'll actually like do a mock 4 core pillar stuff. That way I can have an audio of it. Does that sound awesome?
Yes.
Cool. All right, we'll do that. So we go through them again. Like we said, accountability, prioritization, okay, patience, and trust. And you want them to have them rate that.
Patience.
Trust it. No, it's trust and then patience. Okay, the patience is the most important one for me because it talks about like not just patience with your upline, but patience with yourself. And the reason why is like you want to buy back opportunity to coach. And so if you preempt like Porto, like, hey, you gotta have patience with yourself. If it doesn't come early, it doesn't mean that it's never gonna come. Okay, some results are backtracked from us needing to get rid of some bad habits, like myself. I went through the same thing. Okay, before I could build a team, I had to get rid of my toxic habits. So I had to be patient with myself, right? You can't get the omelet before you break an egg. Make sense? Cool. All right. And so that's the very first talk that happens with who? Your downline. Okay. And if you've never conducted before, who should conduct it? Okay. And then we keep track of these by putting them on the what?
Calendar.
Calendar. Okay. Every one-on-one should be scheduled on the calendar. On the invitees, what we're going to do right now is before everyone leaves, we're going to make sure every phone actually has it set up correctly. Fair?
Fair.
Awesome. All right. And so the next one you can do is if they're a leader, what do we want to talk about? What do y'all think? I can cheat. It's okay.
Honoring the partnership.
Honoring the partnership. Does everyone know how to track that again? Okay. If you don't have it, you should always have a picture of the honoring the partnership on your notes.
It's in the Google Drive as well, guys.
It is also in the Google Drive. Good job. It is also in the Google Drive. It's also on the wall. Okay. And so the way I do it, everyone remember that graph that I used to talk about? Like that graph of like 1 through 10 and then steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8. And you want to measure yourself on a bar graph and then focus on what? The lowest one. And you only want to focus on that one. Okay. That's what you would talk about with another leader. If your downline's a leader now, you can talk about honoring the partnership. And if you're a leader, you should be conducting a one-on-one with your upline, making sure you go over the honoring the partnership. That way you stay on track. Make sense?
Yes.
Cool. And then it should be, like we said, one to 2 times a week with each other. Okay, the goal is to build a relationship. The goal is to build a relationship. Like you want to give your story in the business. Because right now, think about it like this. If I never told my story, people only see what before they see that I came from the field as well.
Success.
CEO, right? They only see Alexis as the CEO. They only see Zach as the CEO. They only see them as president. Like think about if we now talk about Richard having to take 18 months to go through the business, right? Like giving your story humanizes you and builds that relationship with your downline. Like once I told my story about like working in a mechanic shop, me and Porto always only talk about cars. We only talk about trucks. Okay, only that. Okay, gym bros. Okay, right? Like that's the only thing we talk about. Okay, and it's because like now that I get my story, there's a connection there. I guarantee this, that if I forgot that one step, Tracy might have left the business. Because when I told him what college I went to, right, me and him were the only two people that have ever gone to the same college. Because it's such a tiny college that's all we bonded on for 2 weeks. He was as big as my future. You sneezed on me, I broke a rib. There was nothing to relate on for me and him. Okay. But we were athletes and we came from the same college, so that's all I talked about. And we talked about professors and that's it. Okay. And it built that relationship enough to where he saw the opportunity after that from Richard. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Cool. Right? And then how's it going so far? Like your goals. Should it all be business related?
No.
No. Okay. You want to ask them also like their life outside the office. Okay. Don't be like, how's your life outside the office? No, don't be weird. Okay. Be like, I always make it a point to remember someone significant in their life. I know every day before, Alicia leaves, I'm going to ask her about her sister. Every day. And every time I talk to Porto before he leaves, I'm gonna say, hey, make sure to tell Emily I said hi. Okay. Before I talk, every time now you'll be like, oh, Danny does do this. Okay. I always ask Lily about her boyfriend. Okay. Tiffany nephews. Okay. Ariel about husband. It's always that. Okay. Miriam about my favorite, her little sister. Okay. Like there's always something to ask about. Does that make sense? And you want to gain that, like take a little mental note. Okay. Cause the psychology of it is like when you remember, like if I was to say that, what's immediately going through the downline's head if I was to remember a small fact like that?
Oh wow.
That you care.
Oh wow, they remember. Oh wow. Like, weird.
Crazy.
Yeah. Big brains. Cool. Any questions so far on any of that? No? Awesome. Right. Like I love the next one. I'm gonna I'm gonna skip through what we expect because we just went over that. But the give homework. Okay? The give homework. And I love that this always talks about the why because you want to see their commitment level. I never force something like saying, hey, here's this audio, do it by tonight. No. That's not the right way. That's how to grow an employee. Never tell your downline to do anything. We don't want to do that. Okay? Because the whole point is for them to eventually run a company. Okay? No one applied on Indeed to get Danny to RC. No one applied on Indeed to get Alexis to promoting owner. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay, so you want to start giving opportunities for your downline to display their entrepreneurship. I always give recommendations. Okay, Richard taught me this and I'm so grateful for it, that you want to speak in recommendations. Hey, if I was to give you a Larissa Holly audio, would you be grateful for that? And if I was to give it to you tonight, how long do you think it would take to like complete it? Okay, cool. Send me the notes. Okay. And so it's like, what is your level of commitment? Because if I told them to do it, they're going to do it. And are they going to listen? Like the whole point of them listening to Larissa Holly audio is to do what? Take notes to it, grow, devour the knowledge. So if I'm saying, hey, Ariel, this needs to be done tonight, send me the notes.
It's like mom asking you to do the dishes. Yeah.
It's mom asking you to do the dishes, right? Hands down.
Ask him second.
Girlfriend telling you to take out the trash. I was just doing it. Now I don't want to do it. Okay. So it's like, you want to give them opportunity to show entrepreneurship. And I think that's what we're lacking just a tiny bit. Okay. Is we're so good at telling people what to do and not why to do it. Okay. Always make sure your downline knows the why behind the what. So I'm saying, hey, we like to give these audios out. That way, someone who's just better at the business than me can explain it. And these audios are something that you can go ahead and like I showed my mom how to explain the business. My mom's like, what do you do? I'm like, here, Larissa Holly, she's awesome. Here you go. Don't talk to me because I'm a month in the business. Okay. Like you can use it as an asset. Make sense? Okay. Right. How to get them obsessed with the business. Okay. Your top leader is your priority. Build their mentality. Okay. Now just building their mentality. Say, hey, become buddy with them and spend 24/7 with them and go out and party and do all that.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Absolutely not. Okay. There has to be a mentor relationship there. That doesn't mean be strict business. Doesn't mean be boss employee. Mentor relationship means that, hey, when the mentoree is going through adversity, they seek out the mentor, not the other way around. Okay. Now at the beginning, does everyone know that?
No.
No. So what do you think it should be at first? Mentor, seeking out the mentoree, showing them how to do a one-on-one, showing them the importance of one-on-ones, building the value of one-on-ones. It's the same thing as a pitch. Is anyone going to get the service if you don't make it sound sexy?
No.
Is anyone going to show up to leaders meetings if we don't make it sound sexy? Is anyone going to do one-on-ones if we don't make it sound sexy? Is anyone going to read a book if we don't make, who wants to get to management if it's not sexy? Right? There's something that you're obsessed with. There's something that has you attracted with management. Display that out. Hey, I don't know about everyone else, but for me, I genuinely love the opportunity to impact people. I do not care about the money, guys. I don't. Y'all know that. I do not care about the money. The financial freedom it is attracted by hitting goals. That's what it is for me. Okay, I wanted to build the skill set because the money is attracted to a certain skill set that's built, not the other way around. You can't get money and then a skill set is attracted by that. No, look at any celebrity. They barely know how to talk. Okay, the skill set isn't attracted by money. It's the other way around. Okay, and I always tell people that, hey, I'm not attracted by the money. The money's there. And if you're attracted by that, let me know so I can network you out with someone. But for me, it's the ability to impact people and be a core leader of a certain group of individuals. And so that might not be it for you. Someone in the back's like, oh, I just fucking love money. Okay, right? That's okay. That's okay. But just be honest with that. Like be genuine with that. Be like, hey, I love the opportunity to have financial freedom in 5 to 7 years where I can be financially stable and provide for other people, but within well into my 30s or before my 30s. Make sense? Okay. Promote your vision and include them. What you'll do as an RC, your office location, anything like that. Paint the picture. On day, like you want, with your downline, you want to be Picasso. Like my leader, Mike, my first ever leader, Mike, okay? He was like, Danny, we're giving you the NC. And it was his third day. Okay, now I wouldn't say talking about NCs right then and there, okay? Right, like I lacked a little bit of social awareness, hands down. I wasn't perfect. But at least he was attracted to a vision. I would rather someone be oversold on the opportunity than doubting themselves on the opportunity. Hands down. Right, like I'm 90 now, like more of my conversations are gearing towards like, some people are asking me about opening up. Some people are asking me about other campaigns. Some people are asking me about other clients. Some people are asking me about like, hey, what about RC and NC? I'm like, hey, let's get to level 2. Hey, let's get to level 2. Let's build a team. I would rather have that conversation of like, let's focus on what's in front of us really quick before we get to the long term. Make sense? Cool. And it's a way better conversation than someone like, hey, Denny, what's my paycheck on Friday? And I'm like, hey, can you just show up for 2 days? Right? Like it's now the conversation's a lot different. Okay? And we have any questions on any of that? The importance of giving homework, how one-on-ones are structured, any of that? No? All right. And then know their step 7 and let them know yours. It is okay to track it down. I always take notes when doing the one-on-one. Okay? If I find something like, I remember I found the first thing that made Tiffany really excited about the opportunity. I wrote it down. That way I can add it to my graph later on. Hands down. If you know what gets them excited about the business, use that as a motivating tool. Okay, don't use it as leverage. Be like, oh, remember your step 7. No, not like that. Right? But if we're in the field and we're losing it, be like, hey, remember that mansion we talked about? Okay. The notes, the note, you're just one note closer to that. Okay, and now they're like, hey, you're right. Okay, like you want to use opportunities to remind them of their step 7. And if you haven't shared your step 7 with your upline, okay, create one. Like create something that attracts you to the business. If you're wondering right now, it's gonna eventually fuse out. Okay, it's gonna fizzle out, hands down. Okay, without proper action, a soda gets flat. Okay, it fizzles out. You want to always, you want to give it a little shake. Okay, or just drink water or excess. Okay, and then break-evens, financials. Now, if we are not good with financials, should we tell someone about financials?
Yes.
Of course. This is what you should
Tell
do.
somebody else about them.
Okay, if we're not good with money management, should we coach money management?
No.
No.
I get it.
Okay, should a freshman who's learning a skill on how to catch a football go and coach an NFL team?
No.
Okay, no. Okay, right. So this is the same thing. If you do not have fruit on the tree, plug them into your growing upline. Sense?
That's
Cool. Then Bam Fam. This is the most important thing ever.
Bam.
Bam Fam. Okay, this is my favorite thing I've ever learned from Richard.
How do you spell that?
Okay,
Bam.
Bam Fam. It's an acronym. It's spelled BAM and then second word is fam. Okay, and it stands for book a meeting from a meeting.
I don't know why.
Okay, so before if I'm doing a one-on-one with Ryan, before he gets up, he has the audio. He knows why it's important. He knows why I selected it for him. He knows why I did that. Okay, and then we're scheduling the next one-on-one in the calendar right then and there. Now let's talk about the psychology of this. Why do you think it's important to schedule the one-on-one before they even get up?
Urgency. Retention. Knowledge.
Retention. How does that retain?
Right then and there.
It's right then and there. So if if I'm having if I just had the 4 core pillars talk with my first week person and they did this and we actually built a relationship and I got negatives out of Lily. Okay, every negative about the business, like she was like a little skeptical or her family. Now I know that her boyfriend doesn't support the business. Let's say it went down that avenue. Okay. So I'm gonna bam hammer and schedule a book a meeting from a meeting. That way, because she knows, hey, if any negatives other come up, she knows now she can talk about it with me when at the next one-on-one. But if I didn't schedule it, now those negatives are just piling up and piling up and piling up. Okay, but if we sucked out negatives at the one-on-one, if we talked and now she trusts me with a little bit of negatives, I know at the next one-on-one, if she goes through problems, she's like, hey Danny, I can't wait to talk to you for the one-on-one. Not, hey Danny, I quit. Make sense? It's a retention tool, hands down. That's what it is. Okay, isn't it funny that when some people struggle, they're like, Danny, I need a one-on-one with you. Okay, instead of saying like, Danny, I'm struggling. Okay, now they know the one-on-one is the source of finding out what's going on. Because we edified it so much as a company. And I think we can do a little bit better. Cool?
Cool.
Now if you're that person that's like, what's a one-on-one? I've never done a one-on-one. Okay. Do them. Okay. Right. Now we're not at liberty to have ignorance to it. So now it's our due diligence to start conducting them ourselves. Okay. Now if you're a growing leader, do you think your one-on-ones with your downline count as your growth one-on-ones?
No.
No, we should want to do our one-on-ones separate and then talk about your one-on-ones to your downline. And they'll be like, what's a one-on-one? But I'm so glad you asked. Let's schedule it right now. And then you'll schedule right then and there. Like, Ty was like, hey, Danny, everyone talks about one-on-ones. I'm like, yeah, let's schedule one. He's like, yeah, let's do it. And right then and there, he has one on the books. Because the moment they show interest, boom. Right, I'm going to schedule it in because now that he's opened up his mind to be stretched, now his mentality is able to be stretched. Now you can pour into that person. If you schedule a one-on-one before they ask for it, okay, it's like pouring water into a closed lid. There's no weight to it. Cool?
Cool.
Awesome. Does anyone have any questions over any of that? You good? Any other questions?
So, Bam Fam is just not booking a meeting from an actual meeting.
No. Like you're at the meeting. You're at the one-on-one. That's the meeting. And you want to book the next meeting from that meeting. So if I'm sitting down with you, Isis, and we sat down on a Friday, I'm like, hey, in a week, I would love to see these things kind of implemented. I just recommend that you kind of see where this goes and let's get an update next Friday. Okay, we'll sit down at the same time. Okay, same place. And hopefully by then, if you've had a chance, you can finish over Sahali audios. And then we can talk about what the next step. And then show them how to do the calendar. Cool? Awesome.
So at what point would you stop? Like soon when somebody's first starting, you're not initiating one-on-ones. When would you stop that and let them start?
Whenever they start seeing success.
And it's like,
Think about it like this, okay? When someone's struggling, right? That's not the time to dig in and be hard. The time to dig in and ask for more is when they're doing good. So if we've done a one-on-one and I'm like, hey, you're gonna qualify tomorrow if you implement this right now, and then they qualify the next day, I'm like, hey, great job. Okay, you see what the power of one-on-ones? Okay, now I would love to see from you. Hey, how much would I have to manage that? If I'm talking about accountability in the 4 core pillars, It's like, hey, these meetings are really important to us, but it's like, at what point can I start shifting the responsibility to you rather than me having to micromanage that? So when someone's doing good, I'm like, hey, good job. Let's grow. Okay. I shouldn't have to baby it anymore. What is the level of responsibility I can give you for this growth? And they're like, good enough, right? Like I wanted to give Ariel compliance right away. But the moment she asked for it, I'm like, yes, yes, she cares about it enough. So now I know if she will take it seriously because she's here every morning at 8 a.m. Okay. No excuses. And now she knows she has a responsibility toward the greater team. Her role, okay, is to make sure that 5G is on compliance.
I thought I was on compliance, Danny.
We'll talk. Okay.
So I'm on compliance now.
We'll talk. Okay.
Okay.
And so with that being said, right, like that's the point, is that you wanna play like, what is my role on the team? Like the call said. Okay. And it's not a, what's my role so I can be macho me, like, oh, I'm so big at compliance. No, it's because you want to play a role for the bigger team. Cool?
Cool.
Awesome. All right. Any other questions?
I have a question
Yes.
about homework. How do you suggest wording giving homework? Because I had asked Ty for this weekend. Just I said, like, the wording I used was like, I would love it if you had a structure for the email that you want to send for me on Monday that we can go over together. I didn't like tell him he had to. I would love it to have that.
Yeah. So I always throw the word, like, I recommend. I just throw the word in there. Like I tell everyone, like, hey, I recommend that the like, but first you can't recommend something if you haven't built the value for it. So you want to talk about, like, you've been to the Atlanta conference and you've been to the Philadelphia conference, and like, can we agree it's a huge retention tool? Like, anybody that goes to the conference, they're either getting to ownership or they're not doubting the business anymore. There's no doubts about the business. Hands down. Okay. And so with that being said, right, I'm like, if I built the credentials of that event, and they know that it's important, they know my life changed from it, I'm gonna be like, hey, so I would love for you to experience the same thing I went through. So a recommendation I have for you is, like, by Monday, let's get a structure that we can send Danny. That way you put yourself in the running to be able to talk about it with your future downline. And you see that now, like, now Tyler's thinking about, like, holy smokes, I can't wait to talk about my team about this next conference. Like, I'm always trying to insert next step.
So
I'm not.
You have to experience it before you can recommend it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So I'm like, hey guys, we should go to Carowinds. We should so go. But I've never been. I'm like, hey, it's so much fun. And like, now I'm just a liar. Like that. You should watch. Like, imagine me recommending a book that I've never read, or recommending a movie that I've never watched. It's very weird.
Seems true.
Yeah. I read the back cover. You should definitely read it. I read the title. It sounds awesome. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Cool. Any other questions? Cool. Other than that, guys, let's start implementing this, like, now. Okay, we have a lot of people starting. I think we have 17 people in the office starting. Okay, and I'm excited. Okay, we have a lot of work to do. Make sure we're doing rehashes. Make sure we're doing whatever it takes. Check up on them. Okay. And other than that, let's make sure let's implement this. This implement what Tyler went through. He ran a great call this morning. And I think if we do this for 8 weeks, this office will change. Okay. Now this is not just a week change thing. It's not like, okay, do one-on-ones for a couple of weeks and then fizzle out. No, like Tyler said, it's the habit of doing things repetitively and persistently. Okay. So let's see how many times we can do it, not how good we can do something. Okay, the difference between a winner and a loser is losers do things till they get it right. And losers do things till they can't get it wrong. Okay, let's make sure we have the atomic habit behind it to make it a habit and just, muscle memory to just schedule a one-on-one. When someone starts, create the routine. Cool? Awesome. All right, well, Zoom guys, we love y'all. Have a great holiday weekend. Okay, Happy New Year's. Please be safe, make good choices. I would love for someone in this office or on Zoom to announce that, hey, from 6 to 9 p.m. today, if no one has any family plans or not hanging out with any family for New Year's, they're definitely invited to hang out at the office for a little game night. We forgot to announce this yesterday, so I would love for us to get, like, urgently on top of this. If I need to send it out, please let me know. But yeah, from 6 to 9 today, if anyone needs to go ahead and let me stop sharing and stop recording.